There are many reasons to consider integrating instruction related to generative artificial intelligence in schools, including preparing students for the future and teaching them to learn responsibly. Today, I want to open up discussion for a third issue, and that is teaching students about the safety issues related to generative AI. In schools, we don't just teach content, we teach students how to live a safe and productive life. And we talk to them about some different dangers related to safety, such as bullying and cyberbullying, suicide prevention, the harms of vaping and tobacco use, problems generated and created by sexual harassment and how to manage those, cybersecurity. And of course, recently, schools have been offering forums and instructional opportunities on social media. I think we need to take that same consideration and apply it to the world of generative artificial intelligence. How so? I think generative artificial intelligence creates many opportunities for students in schools, but there are downsides to generative artificial intelligence that we need to recognize, one of which is manipulation. And that is the idea that you could be manipulated by something that general artificial intelligence produces, especially in combination with a bot. And I wanted to start by just briefly looking at two examples. The first example is from Ethan Mollick. Ethan Mollick is a professor of the Wharton School who's been publishing many interesting applications of generative artificial intelligence technologies that he's uncovered on his LinkedIn. And last night he posted a video of where he created a deepfake of himself that I will show that looks very real.
Hello everyone. My name is Professor Ethan Mollick, and I am a professor of management at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. I have been studying startups and entrepreneurship for over a decade and have some thoughts on the subject that I would like to share with you today. When it comes to startups, my first piece of advice is to focus on solving a real problem for customers. Many entrepreneurs get excited about a new idea or technology, but it's important to make sure that there is actually a market for what you are offering. It's not enough to just have a cool idea. You need to have customers who are willing to pay for it. Another important thing to keep in mind is that startups are a long-term game. Building a successful company takes time and effort, and there will be ups and downs along the way. You need to have a growth mindset, be persistent, and be willing to pivot if necessary. It's also important to surround yourself with the right team. As the saying goes, a startup is a team sport. You need to have a group of people who complement each other's skills and can work well together.
The second example of what you might consider a deepfake was produced by DJ David Guetta. What DJ Guetta did is ask one generative artificial intelligence tool to produce lyrics that sound like those that were written by Eminem, and then used a different application that generates a voiceover so that what appeared to be Eminem would sing those lyrics. Essentially, I'll use the word sing in a concert, and it sounded like Eminem was there.
This is the future rave sound. I'm getting lost in an underground. This is the future rave sound. I'm getting lost in an underground.
Eminem, bro. There's something that I made as a joke, and it works so good, I could not believe it. I discovered those websites that are about AI. Basically, you can write lyrics in the style of any artist you like. So I typed, write a verse in the style of Eminem about future rave. And I went to another AI website that can recreate the voice. I put the text in that, and I played the record, and people went nuts.
After seeing those two videos, I hope you can see the potential dangers that are created by generative artificial intelligence. Now, how are those dangers created? I would group this into a few categories. The first is natural language abilities. Natural language abilities are something that became very apparent with the release of ChatGPT. We had minimal ability of a bot to interact with a human before the release of ChatGPT and things like customer service. But those engaged in very limited conversations that weren't very natural. You could tell that the output was generated by a computer system. Now we have conversations that basically are occurring in the context of natural human language, that have precision, that have nuance, that sound like a human is generating the output. This output, as we know, often has factual limitations, but those factual limitations are expected to be overcome in the future, at least within 2 years. Even if that prediction is off and you make it 4 years, those factual limitations are going to be solved. And of course, if a person wants to deliberately manipulate you in a limited situation, they will be able to insert the facts themselves. Then we also have deep fakes, such as images, right? Images of individuals or people, and videos, as we saw, being generated, and voiceovers. So it's possible for someone to potentially capture my voice and make a video of me saying something that I did not actually say, using the same technologies that we just saw in the last 2 videos. And then we have the emergence of what's happening of superior dialogue. Generative artificial intelligence capabilities are being developed that can adapt to micro changes in people's facial expressions, and will know what those mean based on science, their blood flow, their eyes, how their eyes kind of move and react. So it's going to be possible for these bots to engage in very detailed conversations that sound natural, that have nuance, that are kind of based on people's natural body language. Now, it's easy to think about what risk can be created, right? We see Professor Mullock, who's is an authority at the Wharton School. Imagine if someone else started producing videos with maybe factual information that is incorrect. That's obviously a problem, but to me it seems like a minor problem. What if somebody produced a video of Joe Biden and the video was maybe through some illegal means put on networks, put on YouTube, and all of a sudden Joe Biden is talking about how there's a major nuclear terrorist attack in the city of Los Angeles. Imagine the panic that would create. Or if he said that the Russians were invading through Mexico, this could cause massive societal destabilization, and you could even probably see destabilizations that are potentially much smaller. And especially if we're adding in there some deep faked videos that appear to show nuclear terrorist attacks or Russians invading from Mexico. On a smaller level, we could have scams. People could call you who you think you actually know. Okay, rather than saying, hey, this is John, I know your aunt needs some money to get out of the hospital, we could have a deep faked interaction between someone who calls you, sounds exactly like your aunt, has factual knowledge of you and her, that would enable this conversation to occur, and it sounds directly like your aunt is asking you for money, which of course would make you more likely to send it. We also have emotional attachments that can develop to bots. Bots are not sentient. I don't know of anyone involved in this field who thinks we will have sentience within at least the next 30 years, but of course that's only a generation away. But nonetheless, because these bots can engage in natural language conversation and have these precise conversations and engage in regular dialogue, there are instances and reports of people becoming emotionally attached to the bots, of course. And then if you can combine that with terrible things that the bots might tell you to do, such as to harm yourself or to harm others, you may be more likely to carry out those actions. So it's very important, I think, to consider these things. And these are some specific questions you might want to consider. What responsibilities do schools have to teach students about personal and societal risk created by generative AI? How might that instruction be enhanced using tools, and them using the tools and understanding how the tools work? 3, is it productive to try to isolate these technologies from school networks and computers, leaving students kind of on their own to deal with these, right? Leaving a teacher on their own, if they don't understand how these technologies work, to have a student email them or call them in a way, and kind of misrepresent themselves as a bot, or have someone else kind of call the teacher. When I was in high school, tremendous problems were kind of caused by students wanting to have an end of the school day, so they would call from the payphone in the school and they would call in a bomb scare. Well, imagine how much greater disruption could be caused with the use of these generative AI technologies. And then 4th, beyond kind of school safety, how can deepfakes and content produced by generative artificial intelligence harm education even if the students are using the traditional search engines, right? Even kind of if some K-12 schools hold their ground and say we don't want these technologies in schools, well, the students are going to use the search engines, right? That they've been taught to use at school and at home, and just kind of as part of natural life. And what they're going to do is they're going to run searches, and they're going to access output, right? Essentially, that was generated or created using generative artificial intelligence technologies, right? Whether these be like deep fake videos or articles entirely written by generative artificial intelligence and not knowing if they're written by a human or not, or why they were put there. Maybe they were generated by foreign intelligence services placed on the internet, right? So beyond kind of teaching students to use the technology, beyond questions of kind of school safety and student safety, this inevitably just kind of ties back in to how students are being taught to do research and access information currently, because this type of information is going to become accessible through those traditional means.